This broadcast is brought to you courtesy of amateur radio station VK7AX in Ulverstone, northwest Tasmania.
Welcome to the end of financial year VK7 Amateur Radio news for the 28th day of June 2026, your gateway to what's happening across the airwaves in Tasmania and beyond. Coming to you from the Tasmanian Amateur Radio News Desk is Idris VK7 Zulu India Romeo with the latest updates, stories and insights from our amateur radio community. We're broadcasting far and wide thanks to our dedicated team, DMR Talk Group 5 and D-Star Reflector 91 Charlie via the digital group. MF and HF relays, 476 kHz, trial transmission from northwest to VK7, Brenton, VK7 Hotel Papa, 1.86 MHz, Graham, VK7 Golf Sierra, 3.67 MHz by Dale, VK7 Delta Golf, 7.14 MHz Ross, VK7 Alpha Lima Hotel, 1.13 MHz by Justin, VK7 Tango Whiskers, VK 28.525 MHz, Gary, VK7 Juliet Golf Delta, and locally in Hobart on UHF CB Channel 24, Mark, VK7 Foxtrot Mike Alpha Charlie, and Hotel Foxtrot Charlie 24 with Luke, VK and no call sign. Missed it live, catch the replay Tuesday 8pm on repeaters VK7RAA North, VK7RHT and on UHF CB24, HF CB24 in the south. Stay tuned and enjoy the news. MCOM News, protection of emergency frequency following major earthquake in Venezuela. From the IARU to IARU Region 3 member societies. IARU Region 3 has been informed by IARU Region 2 of a major earthquake that struck near the coast of Venezuela on the 24th of June 2026 at approximately 22:04 UTC. Preliminary reports indicate significant damage in several areas, including the capital city of Caracas. Power outages and disruptions to normal communications infrastructure have been reported, resulting in increased reliance on amateur radio emergency communications networks. According to information received from the Venezuelan Radio Club National Emergency Network and IARU Region 2 Emergency Communications Coordinator, Venezuelan radio amateurs have activated emergency communications operations on HF and digital modes to support ongoing response and coordination efforts. In support of these emergency communication activities, IARU Region 3 respectfully requests all member societies to advise their members to avoid transmitting on or causing interference to the following emergency frequency whenever possible: 7.135 MHz on the 40 metre band. This frequency is currently being utilised for emergency communications traffic related to the earthquake response in Venezuela. Member societies are encouraged to share this advisory through their local national networks and emergency communications groups. Radio amateurs monitoring this frequency are requested to maintain good operating practice and give priority to emergency traffic. IARU Region 3 extends its solidarity to the people of Venezuela and the amateur radio amateurs supporting emergency and disaster relief communications. We stand ready to support any requests for assistance coordinated through IARU Region 2. Thank you for your cooperation. 73 D Agensh Adita YB1 BTM IRAU Region 3 Chairperson Disaster Communications Committee. ACMA News. Stay up to date with the ACMA Amateur Radio newsletter. The Australian Communications and Media Authority is encouraging amateur radio operators to subscribe to its amateur radio newsletter. The free email newsletter provides updates on amateur radio regulatory developments, consultation opportunities and other matters affecting the amateur service in Australia. As the ACMA continues to review and update various radio communications arrangements, the newsletter is an excellent way to stay informed directly from the regulator. Subscribing is quick and easy. Simply visit the ACMA subscription web page, enter your details and select the amateur radio option from the list of available newsletters. The service delivers important information directly to your inbox on a semi-regular basis, helping ensure that you don't miss future consultations, regulatory changes or announcements relevant to the amateur radio community. For more information and to subscribe, visit the ACMA website and follow the subscribed to our links news link. And that was sourced from the WIA and the ACMA. WIA contest news. VHF-UHF Field Day. The annual winter WIA VHF-UHF Field Day was run over the weekend of 20 and 21st of June. Logs are now due and only electronic logs are accepted unless some disability necessitates a paper log, which must be submitted as set out in the rules. The online VK contest log checker accepts logs from the weekend of the contest. Deadlines for submissions is 14 days from the Sunday of the event, which is the 5th of July 2026. 73 from Richard, VK7ZBX. Tassie Ham Econ Radio Conference. Bookings are open. The countdown is on for Tassie Ham Econ 2026 and bookings are officially open. This year's theme, Hack the Ether, Education, Ingenuity, Connection, captures the spirit of amateur radio at its best, where experimentation, innovation and lifelong learning come together. Humans have spent more than a century finding increasingly creative ways to throw signals through the air. This conference celebrates that tradition while looking firmly towards the future. Join amateurs, makers, educators, communicators and technical explorers from across Australia and the world for a fully catered weekend. The conference program is built around 4 major streams. Hack the Mind, exploring education and learning futures. Hack the System, showcasing ingenuity and experimentation. Hack the Culture, focusing on community engagement and connection, and Hack the Future, examining leadership, purpose and wherever amateur radio goes next. Tassie Ham Econ 2026 takes place on Saturday the 7th and Sunday the 8th of November 2026 at the iconic Sir Stanley Burberry Theatre on the UTAS Sandy Bay campus. Pre-conference and post-conference activities have also been planned, making it a full weekend of radio learning and networking. The preliminary program is now available and registrations are open via the conference website. And that's 73 from the conference organising group. WWFF, SOTA, POTA, LaLota and IOTA weekend roundup. Jim VK7JZ made a dash up his local summit on Mount Wellington. Operating on 15, 20 and 40 metres, Jim logged 23 contacts, including some nice DX into France, New Zealand and Japan. As he has already activated the Mount Wellington summit earlier in this calendar year, he was only eligible to claim for the 3 winter bonus points for this activation. Angela VK7AMP and Tony VK7LTD made the most of the day with an activation of the Mount Direction Conservation Area in southern VK7. Parking at the Risdon Brook Dam car park, they made their way into the conservation area to set up and operate. They each activated the park individually, with Angela making 21 contacts using just 10 watts, while Tony logged 49 contacts with DX into France, Poland and the USA. It doesn't get much better than spending the day together, enjoying amateur radio and the great outdoors. Matt VK7MAT headed to the Four Springs Lake Water Management Area near Selborne in the state's north. Matt logged 64 contacts during the activation, including a contact via the International Space Station as it passed overhead. For the ISS contact, Matt used an ICOM IC2730A and a handheld Arrow antenna. Contacts made via satellite repeaters are the only repeater-assisted contacts permitted during an activation. Al VK7AN and Peter VK7ZPE made their way up to Grassy Hut Tier for a SOTA activation. Grassy Hut Tier happened to be on the property of Ross VK7ALH, very handy. Running an ICOM IC705 at 10 watts with a 20 metre end-fed wire, they operated on 40 metres and enjoyed a steady stream of contacts, including a nice DX into France with Larry, F5PYI. That's it for another week. Hope to catch you on the air. That's 73 from Matt, VK7MAT. Statewide SSTV nights. A quiet night, net night that saw the following participants: VK7s, AX, OO, EV and ZAB, all sharing over 30 photos. The highlights were from Dirk, BA3DHR in the Netherlands, a photo of his birthplace, and in 1975 he was working from home with a train. Fruit Icy Poles from PAGFY. Quiet time under man ferns on a river cruise and sailing into the sunset. Adventures on the west coast, wilderness train, or flying high. Activities that don't end well, like horse riding. A CQ from the Lady Nelson and a communications site. And 73 from a retiring gentleman. Again, Tony VK7AX interconnected VK7RJG to his SSTV International Gateway, and VK7's exchanged photos with PD5JOS. PA3DHR and PA3GFY in the Netherlands, and DJ0ZK in Germany. Please remember to leave a 30-second break between transmissions to allow the European countries a chance to send photos. Note Ken VK7RJs and Steve VK7OO's fully automatic 24/7 monitoring site that allows anyone testing to send a picture and the ability to check their transmission on these pages almost immediately, anytime, both South and North Tasmania. If you missed the net, there are archives of these SSTV nights on Ken and Steve's websites or on NTARC's website under blogs. At 73 from Andre, VK7ZAB. News from the North. SOTA WWFF Parks Group. The Summits on the Air Worldwide Flora and Fauna Parks Group meets twice weekly, Mondays and Fridays, 10:30 a.m. till 12, at the Glebe Gardens Cafe, Henry Street, Launceston. For more information, contact Al on 0417 354 410. That number again, 0417 354 410. And that's 73 from Al, VK7 Alpha Nancy. You are listening to VK7 Whiskey India, and this is the VK7 Amateur Radio News broadcast. Northern Tasmanian Amateur Radio Club Incorporated, NTARC. Cast your mind back for a moment. Something significant happened here in Tasmania on the 31st of March 2020, the day we entered COVID-19 lockdown. Overnight, clubroom activities are off the table for the foreseeable future, but by the 8th of April, Nick, then VK7 Bravo Echo Echo, which tells you just how much time has passed, had already stepped up. Now known to us all as VK7 Whiskey Whiskey, or just Whiskey Whiskey, he launched an on-air net to keep the club members connected. With no physical gatherings and isolation fever setting in, that weekly ritual became a lifeline until the worst of the pandemic eased. And it didn't stop there. For more than 6 years now, the net has continued almost every Wednesday, with only a short break over Christmas and New Year periods. Nick has been at the helm throughout, with the occasional helping hand from other net members when illness or meetings got in the way. And speaking of these who've helped keep the technical net running so smoothly, we really do need to acknowledge a few familiar VKs. A big thank you to Paul VK7KA and Phil VK7ZPE PD for keeping the Discord side of things rock solid, including the live audio stream that many of us rely on when our receiving conditions are a little more modest. And heartfelt thanks as well to Phil VK7ZPD, Rick VK7HBR, Gordon VK3 ACU and Kieran VK3 BTTV, who have all stepped in to host the net, sometimes with very little notice. Their willingness to help has kept the Wednesday night tradition running without a hitch. It all adds up to well over 300 sessions, a remarkable run by any measure and greatly appreciated by club members and participating amateurs. Nick is now taking a well-earned break and is stepping back from hosting the technical net, but he'll still be very much part of the airwaves through his CW coaching, or perhaps the better term is CW mentoring, because that's exactly what he's been doing all along. Position vacant. With Nick stepping down from hosting the technical net, this opens the door to anyone who might like to continue the net fun. NTARC membership isn't a requirement, as amateur radio has a wonderful way of connecting people across clubs and across states, and everyone is welcome. If you are the type of amateur that has the time and enjoys a friendly midweek catch-up on the air, keeping conversations moving and helping amateurs stay connected, you might be just the person. No need to be an expert, just a steady voice and a bit of enthusiasm. It could be a really rewarding role with an interesting learning curve. If you feel even a little curious about giving it a go, have a chat with the committee. Our mid-year club get-together and meal at the Iron Horse Bar and Grill is shaping up nicely. A big thank you to everyone who booked early. It has allowed us to give the venue a solid working number for catering. The team there knows how clubs operate and have assured us they're very flexible, so if you make a last-minute decision to come along, even on the night itself, they will be able to accommodate you. Looking forward to seeing you there. Upcoming events: CW course every Wednesday night on 3.58 MHz from 7 to 7:30 p.m. Your CW coach for the evening is Nick VK7 Whiskey. On-air test and technical gathering Wednesday nights on 3.567 MHz from 7:30 p.m. Clubroom technical night. The next session will be on Wednesday, the 8th of July, and will commence at the usual time of 6:30 p.m. at the Clubroom, Archer Street, Rochalee. Mid-year club get-together, Wednesday the 15th of July at the Iron Horse Bar and Grill, 6 p.m. for a 6:30 meal. And finally, if you have any items of news, please email them to the Secretary at the following address: news@ntarc.net. All items to be received no later than 5 p.m. on the Friday prior to the broadcast. And at 73 from Stefan, VK7 ZSB, Secretary of NTARC Inc. Now news from the South. Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania, REAST. REAST Survey Live. The Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania is currently conducting its periodic member survey, inviting all members to give their views on a wide range of club topics and to provide input into the coming year's activities. The survey runs from the 15th of June to the 29th of June 2026. That's tomorrow. REAST members have been sent an email with a link to complete the survey online, and there are printed copies of the survey form available in the club rooms. Questions can be directed to Tony VK7VKT on email anthony.lathoris, that's anthony.lathouras @gmail.com, or Dave VK7CB on email david.bauer.man@gmail.com. And that's 73 from Dave VK7CB, the REAST Secretary. July presentation night. Amateur radio in men's sheds. Community outreach through science, technology and connection. On Wednesday night will be a special presentation on community outreach through amateur radio, highlighting how men's sheds can use our hobby to reach a wider group of people and deliver real community benefits. While many men's sheds are best known for woodworking, metalworking and practical workshop activities, not every member wants to build a birdhouse, restore furniture or weld a trailer. Some are drawn instead to technology, science, electronics, communications, weather, computers, space and lifelong learning. Amateur radio provides a natural pathway for these interests while supporting the core men's shed goals of social connection, purpose, well-being and participation. The presentation will show how a men's shed amateur radio program can include much more than simply talking on the air. Activities can include satellite tracking, receiving weather satellite images, software-defined radio, digital modes, mesh networking, emergency communications, citizen science, radio astronomy and simple electronic projects. These activities help reduce social isolation, encourage mentoring and skill sharing, support STEM engagement and build community resilience. The key ingredients are management support, a dedicated radio space, antennas, equipment, mentors, regular activities and a clear learning pathway. Get these elements right and the amateur radio can become a flagship outreach activity for men's sheds, providing once again that our hobby is not just about radios, but about people, learning and community connection. Wednesday the 1st of July 2026 from 7:30pm, where the Queen's Domain Club rooms and streamed. Come along and see the amazing things that are getting up to at the men's sheds. See you there. 73 from the Reist Committee. You are listening to VK7WI, and this is the VK7 Amateur Radio News broadcast. July Forum Night. This Forum Night we are trying something different. Thanks to our Discord devotees who suggested an open mic night. No, not the musical type, but the project/experimentation type. Amateur radio is often described as a hobby of hobbies. Whether your interests lie in operating, contesting, antennas, satellites, electronics, software, emergency communications, astronomy, 3D printing, maker projects, photography, computing, restoration or something completely different, there is usually a connection back to amateur radio. For this month's Forum Night we're trying something a little different with an informal open mic evening. Members are invited to take the floor for up to 5 to 10 minutes and share something that interests them. It could be a project currently on the bench, a recent success or failure, an interesting piece of equipment, a technical topic, a contest experience, a citizen science project, or even another hobby that complements your amateur radio activities. This is not a formal presentation night, so no PowerPoint, and it's a little different from our usual WEGS forum nights. The aim is to give everyone an opportunity to share their interests with a wider group and perhaps discover some unexpected connections between members. What do you enjoy when you're not on the air? You may be surprised at the skills, experiences and stories hidden within our membership. Bring along your ideas, projects, photos, gadgets, or simply come along and enjoy an evening of sharing, learning and good conversation. Who knows, you might even inspire someone else's next project. Where the Queen's Domain Club rooms and streamed, and at 73 from the Reist Committee. Wednesday Experimenters Group, WEGS. Last Wednesday in the studio saw Rex VK7MO take us through more of his experiments with differential GPS for very accurate pointing. Rex and his mate Copilot have been doing some Python programming to extract the heading information from the NMEA stream and display in large numbers on a PC screen, both the instantaneous readings and the averaged reading. Rex set up his two antennas outside and we connected live to a notebook in the studio. Thanks, Rex. Then we got Ron VK7ME into the studio with 3D print for his 3X18650 LiPo battery holder and battery management PCB for his QMX QRP radios. The holder is a triangular shape to also act as a stand for the QMX. Great work, Ron. Justin VK7TW then took a look at the latest Dubus magazine with some amazing VHF and above articles. We finished with space weather, training and future events. We go into recess for a fortnight while we have the July presentation and forum nights. See you back in the studio on July 15th. 73 from Justin VK7TW. Reist Training and Assessment Update. Are you looking to join the world of amateur radio or upgrade your licence? Reist has you covered with regular training and assessment days for all licence levels. If you are thinking of coming along to the next session, please let the learning organiser know ASAP. The key dates are Standard, Advanced and Regulation assessments held on alternate months. Next is the 25th of July 2026. Foundation Training and Assessment Days held every 2 months, with the next one on Saturday the 22nd of August 2026. Check out the full schedule on the Reist events page. Do you need to secure your spot or ask a question? Email the reist.assessor@gmail.com and your inquiry will go directly to the learning organiser, who will be in contact. We have learning resources available, including our foundation licence training videos that are a must-watch for beginners. Find them on the REAST YouTube training and assessment playlist. Practice makes perfect, so prepare with the WIA Foundation trial exams, and the link can be found on the email edition of this broadcast. Whether you're starting your journey or levelling up, REAST is here to guide you every step of the way. And that's 73 from Reg, VK7, Kilo Kilo. Regular VK7 gatherings and events over the coming months. VK7 regular gatherings. Sewing Circle Net, daily on 3.64 MHz, commences at 6:30 p.m. AEST. Statewide SSTV Net, held every Thursday night via the North-South link on VK7RAF, VK7RJG from 7:30 p.m. In the North and Northwest, VK7RJG on 438.55 MHz with a -7 MHz offset, and in the South, VK7RAF on 146.650 MHz with a -600 kHz offset. CTC SS tone is 141.3 Hz to link RAF North-South, plus VK7AX International SSTV Gateway connected to VK7RJG for the duration of the net. Statewide Microwave QSO Party, following the Sunday broadcast callback on 1296.15 MHz FM. One group in the Greater Hobart area and another in the Greater Launceston area. Then North-South Digital Contacts on 1296.2 MHz using Q65-60B. Stations in the Launceston area transmitting on the odd minute, southern stations on the even minute. REAST 6 metre AM net on 53.1 MHz every day from 4:30 p.m. SOTA WWFF Group, meeting Mondays and Fridays 10:30 to 12 midday at the Glebe Gardens Cafe, Henry Street, Launceston. NTARC CW course every Wednesday night on 3.58 MHz from 7 to 7:30 p.m. Your CW coach for the evening is Nick, VK7 Whiskey Whiskey. On-air test and technical gathering Wednesday nights on 3.567 MHz from 7:30 p.m. NTARC Technical Night Session Wednesday the 8th of July from 6:30 p.m. at the Club Rooms, Archer Street, Rochalee. NTARC Coffee Mornings are held every Friday in the NTARC Club Rooms. Time is from 10 a.m. to noon. Northwest VK7 Wednesday from 8 p.m. local. Northwest Tassie Amateur Repeater Group Net on 2 metre VK7 RMD and All-Star Node 56780. Northwest VK7 Thursday commencing at 8:30 p.m. local. Northwest Tassie 2 metre DX Net 144.190 upper sideband. Now a reminder to those people rostered for next week's broadcast. Newsreader will be VK7 Whiskey Whiskey. Repeaters, REAST and NTARC, and in the Northwest thanks to NWTARC, WCRG, NWCRRA, VK7AX, VK7JH, and VK7DC. 160 metres VK7GS, 80 metres VK7JGD, 40 metres VK7DG, 20 metres VK7ALH, 10 metres VK7VKT, UHFCB24 and HFCB24, VK7MAC and Luke, DMR Talk Group 5 and D-Star Reflector 91 Charlie by the Digital Group. A big thank you to everyone who contributed to and supported this week's broadcast of the VK7 Amateur Radio News. That's it for this week. If you missed the live transmission, remember you can always catch the rebroadcast Tuesday at 8 p.m. or VK7RAA in the north, VK7RHT and UHFCB24, HFCB24 in the south. Got news, stories or updates to share? We'd love to hear from you. Send them to VK7ARnews@gmail.com by Friday 9 p.m. You can also join the conversation on our VK7 Amateur Radio Newsgroups.io page. Stay now for callbacks on this frequency, with each relay station using their own call sign. On behalf of the VK7 News team, this is Idris VK7ZIR, wishing you good TX and a great week ahead.